We are the Group 2 and we are here to discuss the evolution of computing. First of all, what is a computer? A programmable electronic device that accepts raw data as input and processes with a set of instructions to produce the result as output. The term computer is derived from the Latin word computere, which means to calculate. A machine that performs processes, calculation, and operation based on instruction provided by a software or hardware program. They are also designed to execute application. Charles Babbage is also known as the father of computer. Now, let's talk about the benefits of using a computer. The first one increases your productivity. A computer increases your productivity. For example, after having a basic understanding of a word processor, you can create, edit, store, and print the document easily and quickly. Example a situation. A student can type an assignment, correct spelling mistakes, save it, and print it in a minute instead of writing everything by hand again. The second one, it connects to the internet. It connects you to the internet that allows you to send emails, browse content, gain information, use social media platforms, and more. The third one is storage. A computer allows you to store a large amount of information. The fourth one is organized data and information. It not only allows you to store data, but also enables you to organize your data. The fifth one improves your abilities. It helps write good English if you are not good at spelling and grammar. The sixth one is assist the physically challenged. It can be used to help the physically challenged. For example, Stephen Hawking, who was not able to speak, used a computer to speak. It also can be used to help blind people by installing special software to read what is on the screen. The last one is keeps you entertained. You can use the computer to listen to songs, watch movies, play games, and many more. Now, let's talk about the example of computer use. The first one is ATM. While withdrawing cash from an ATM, you are using a computer that enables the ATM to take instructions and dispense cash accordingly. The second one is digital currency. A computer keeps a record of your transactions and balance in your account, and the money deposited in your account in a bank is stored as a digital record or digital currency. The third one is trading. Stock market use computers for day-to-day trading. There are many advanced algorithms based on computers that handle trading without involving humans. Fourth one. The next one is smartphones. The smartphone that we use throughout the day for calling, texting, browsing is itself a computer. The last one is VoIP. All voice over IP communication is handled and done by computer.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Jason Legumeran from BZ1P. My topic is what are the four function what are the four basics function of computer? First things first is the input function. Second is the data processing function. The third is output function, and the fourth is the data storage function. So first things first is the input function. Input function is the computer function accepts data from input device and send it to the computer processor. So, yan. Sinasabi na nga dyan na ang input function ay nagbibigay ng data from the device. So, if you, example this one is, if you put an USB to the computer, then by clicking the files to the USB, you can get the input input files or the document to by seeing it and by downloading. An example here is the mouse, touchscreen, camera, scanner, microphone, joystick, webcam, trackball. So the mouse, click by clicking, that's the input function. Touchscreen, when you touch the screen, of course. Then the camera, by clicking and see the input photos. And the scanner, scanner 2, by Xerox, like the scanner seeing the words by words or the picture, then the input there is the scanner or the files that your Xerox. And second one is the data processing function. So data processing function is the most basic function of computer. So yan, sinasabi ng basic because the operation of data as per given instruction, this function is performed by the central processing unit or the CPU, which consists of electronic circuits that can read and execute codes instruction to perform a wide range of tasks that performing complex mathematical calculation to storing the entries in a database. So this data processing function is dito na pina-process yung mga document, mga programming sa CPU. First thing first is the papasok na din yung input dito, which is yung input doon is nagbibigay siya ng data process, and yung gagawin ni data processing function is doon yun na papaikutin yung mga files na sinave mo or andun na sa CPU mo or the laptop. Examples is the processing device is the Intel, the ano yung mga nandito, the device of your laptop, yung nasa loob, kung paano niya ipaprocess yung mga data. So the third one is the output function. So the output function is the process producing the useful information for the user after processing input data. So after processing the input data, the CPU auxiliary processor of the process function sent to the process data to the output function of the default or configured output device. Each output device presents the process data in a different form. For example, of monitor, printer, speaker, display, prints, and plays process data respectively. So dito is yung output na nung data the data or the document that you put in a device. For example na nga dyan is the printer. So ano bang ginagawa sa printer? Now to print ng data or document that you kinakailangan, or tawag dito sa English, basta kinakailangan. So yung document na yon is the output, which is the printer print it. So that's the output data. And speaker displays. So yun, speaker, yung output ng speaker na yun is yung sounds. Yun lang. So next. So ito na, last one is the the data storage function. So dito data storage function is the one of the useful function of a computer is data storage, because besides storing data that has been input through peripherals, computers also need a way to save the result of data processing. So dito ka nagsisave ng mga data mo, ng mga document mo. Ito yung ginagawa ng desktop, computer, laptop. Ito na nila sinisave yung mga files mo. Or pwede din sa desktop ng laptop mo, ng CPU, or desktop. So dito is one of the examples of this is the hard disk, the RAM, the ROM, CD or DVD, floppy memory card, pen drive, tape, or the USB. So dito, sasalpak mo lang yung USB model, click the USB drive or the USB drive, then save in there. So that's the data storage function. So doon mo na lahat sinesend yung mga files mo or documents. That's all, certain.
Hello, a blessed day to each and everyone. I will be going to discuss the 8 characteristics of computer. The first one is the speed. So it is the most important characteristics of computer. It is because ang computer kayang mag-process ng napakaraming informations, transactions, problems sa loob lang ng ilang segundo. So for example, we have a problems, we have assignments, pwede nating i-ask sa kanya at ma-resolve niya agad nito in a second. So tayo kasi mga tao, pag sinusolve natin ito, it takes time or it takes days, di ba? So pag magsasearch lang tayo sa kanya, binibigyan niya agad tayo ng information. So dahil sa bilis ng computer or sa speed, mas napapadali or mas napapabilis yung trabaho ng mga tao. The second one is the accuracy. The computer known as the accurate of informations. So, kapag tama ang data or instruct mo kay computer, siguradong tama rin ang output na ilalabas nito. So, hindi tulad ng mga tao maaaring magkamali dahil sa pagod or sa kakulangan ng atensyon. Ang computer kasi, nananatili siyang accurate sa pag-compute or sa pag-process ng mga information. So, ganun pa man, kapag mali ang in-input, mali rin ang magiging resulta. So, pag tama ang in-input mo, magiging tama rin yung result. Parang garbage in at garbage out. The third one is the diligence. Hindi napapagod si computer because computer ay may kakayahang magtrabaho ng tuloy-tuloy nang hindi natutulog at hindi napapagod. Kahit paulit-ulit natin siyang inuutusan or paulit-ulit natin siyang tinatanong, ginagawa niya pa rin yung mga task niya. Tsaka hindi siya bumabagal. The fourth one is the versatility. Means maraming kakayahan si computer. So computer is one of the most versatile machine dahil marami itong kayang gawin. Maaari mo itong gamitin sa paggawa ng reports, presentations, online classes, video editing, and sa communication tulad ng Zoom and video calls. So, sa isang device lamang, magagawa na yung napakadaming gawain natin, di ba? So, hindi kagaya ng dati, need natin ng madaming materials. The fifth one is the power of remembering. So, the word remembering, pumapasok agad dito yung memory. So, the computer is capable to storing the large amount of information. So, maaari nitong itago ang data sa loob ng mahabang panahon at mabilis itong ma-access kapag kailangan natin. So, for example, yung i-restore ito sa kung kailan natin gusto. Hindi rin nakakalimot ang computer hanggat hindi nabubura yung data natin or yung files natin. It's because of power of remembering. The sixth one is no IQ, means walang sariling isip si computer. Alam naman natin na si computer mabilis at precise yung mga binibigay niyang information sa atin, but itatak natin sa utak natin or sa isip natin na walang sariling isip si computer at walang sariling katalinuhan. So, hindi makakapag-isip si computer at hindi makakapag-desisyon ng mag-isa lamang siya. So, gumagana ito based sa mga program at utos na binibigay natin sa kanya. So, kung walang tamang instruction na or walang tamang instruction, hindi ito makakagawa ng mga gawain. One thing, may bad effect din si computer because nga wala siyang sariling isip. Sometimes, pag may problems tayo, nagtatanong tayo sa kanya about sa problems natin, hindi niya alam kung natutulungan niya ba tayo or na-down niya na pala tayo. So, itatak natin sa isip natin na huwag tayo mag-rely lamang sa computer palagi. The seventh one is no feeling. So, si computer wala siyang emotions or damdamin. So, hindi siya nakakaramdam ng pagod, stress, kasiyahan, at galit kahit na paulit-ulit natin siyang inuutosan or mali yung pag-ooperate ng user sa kanya. Patuloy pati siyang gumagana. It's because sa program na inuutos sa kanya. So, dahil dito, maaasahan natin ang computer sa tuloy-tuloy na trabaho niya kasi nga robot na siya.
We move on to the next topic, the history of computers. Before computers existed, people already needed a way to count. Long ago, primitive people used simple objects like sticks, stones, and bones to count numbers. As time passed and human intelligence and technology improved, better and more advanced computing devices were invented. I will now explain the important devices in the history of computers. Abacus. The abacus is believed to be the first computer and was invented in China about 4,000 years ago. It is made of beads that are moved along rods to perform basic calculation like addition and subtraction. Even today, some countries still use the abacus for learning maths. Napier bones. Napier bones was invented by John Napier. It is a manual calculating tool that uses numbered sticks to help in multiplication and division. This device was important because it introduced the use of decimal form. Pascaline was invented by Blaise Pascal to help his father read Oxford. It was the first mechanical calculator and could manually perform addition and subtraction. It worked using gears and wheels that move numbers automatically. The step reckoner. The step reckoner was invented by Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. It was an improved version of the Pascaline and could perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. This machine used a special wheel called Leibniz wheel. Difference engine. The difference engine was designed by Charles Babbage, who is known as the father of modern computer. This machine was mechanical and was used to calculate mathematical tables. Analytical engine. The analytical engine was also developed by Charles Babbage. It was more advanced because it could store data and use punch card for instruction. This machine had the basic parts of modern computers such as memory and processor, even though it was never fully built. Tabulating machine. The tabulating machine was invented by Hermann Hollerith. It used punch card to process and organize data. This was used in the 1890 US Census and made data processing much better. It later led to the creation of the IBM. Differential analyzer. The differential analyzer was one of the first electronic computers in the United States. It was invented by Vannevar Bush and used vacuum tubes. It could solve complex calculations much faster than mechanical machines. Mark I. The Mark I computer was developed by Howard Eitel in partnership with IBM and Harvard University. It was the first programmable digital computer. This machine marked an important step toward modern computers. So in conclusion, computers started from simple counting tools and slowly developed into complex machines. Each invention played an important role in the development of modern computers we use today.
Moving on to the next topic, I will be discussing the 5 generations of computers. A generation of computer refers to the stage of development in computer technology over time. Each generation shows how computers improved in terms of size, speed, memory, efficiency, and capability. In 1946, electronic circuits were developed, replacing mechanical parts used in earlier machines. As technology advanced, circuits became smaller and more powerful, allowing computers to perform better tasks. There are 5 generations of computers, and each generation is based on the main technology used during that time. The first generation computers. The first generation of computers existed from 1940 to 1956. These computers used vacuum tubes as their main electronic component, making them very large, expensive, and hot. They also used a lot of electricity and were difficult to operate. These computers were mainly used for scientific calculations and military purposes. Some examples of these are the ENIAC, UNIVACI, and IBM 701. Moving on to the second generation, it was from 1956 to 1962. It was known the era of transistor computers. Vacuum tubes were replaced by transistors, which made computers smaller, faster, and cheaper. They also used assembly language and early high-level languages like Fortran and COBOL. Second-generation computers were widely used in business and scientific applications. Some examples of these are the IBM 1401, IBM 1794, and UNIVAC 1108. As time passes, people move to the next generation, which is the third generation computers. The third generation computers were using integrated circuits or ICs. This made computers smaller, more reliable, and able to perform multiple tasks at the same time. This generation computers used real-time, time-sharing, and distributed operating system. Some examples of these are the IBM 360, Honeywell 6000, and the PDP. Moving on to the next generation, the fourth generation from 1971 to 1980 used very large-scale integrated or VISI circuits. It is a chip containing millions of transistors and other circuits elements. With this, computers became very fast, compact, and affordable. In this generation, personal computers started to become popular. Some examples of these are the PDP-11, DEC-10, and Cray-1. Last but not the least, the fifth generation computers. The fifth generation is the generation we use today from 1980 to the present day. It uses ULSI or Ultra Large Scale Integration Technology, artificial intelligence, and parallel processing. With this, computers are now more advanced compared to the previous generations. Some examples of this are the desktop, laptop, notebook, ultrabook, and Chromebooks. To conclude, computers have evolved from large, slow machines into fast, intelligent, and compact devices. Each generation introduced new technology that improved the way computers work and how people use them in everyday life.
Magandang araw! Sa video na ito, tatalakayin natin ang overview of computer classifications o ang iba't ibang paraan ng pag-uuri ng mga computer. Mahalaga ito upang malaman natin kung anong uri ng computer ang angkop gamitin sa iba't ibang gawain, tulad na lamang ng pag-i-scroll o kung ano pang mga gawain natin sa mga computer. Tara at ating alamin. Bago tayo magsimula, dumako muna tayo sa overview ng ating paksa. Ang mga computer ay may iba't ibang klasifikasyon o uri ayon sa purpose, data handling, at size. Tinutulungan tayo ng mga klasifikasyon na pumili ng tamang hardware batay sa pangangailangan. May mga computer na para sa pangkalahatang gamit at may ilan naman na para lamang sa tiyak na tungkulin. Mayroon ding pagkakaiba kung paano nila pinaproseso ang mga datos, papa-analog, digital o hybrid. Samantala, ang laki at kapasidad naman ay tumutukoy sa performance at kakayahan ng computer na gawin ang isang task. Upang mas maintindihan ang iba't ibang gamit ng computer, simulan natin ang pagtalakay sa kanilang mga laguna. Ang general purpose computers ay kayang magsagawa ng maraming uri ng gawain. Halimbawa nito, ang laptop ng isang estudyante na ginagamit sa paggawa ng assignments, panonood ng educational videos, online classes, at iba pang gawain. Kasama rin dito ang desktop computers na karaniwang makita sa mga opisina at paaralan. Kumbaga, ang general purpose computers ay all-rounder. Kayang gawin ang lahat, ngunit mayroon pa rin itong limitasyon. Samantala, ang specific o special purpose computers ay dinisenyo para sa isang tiyak na gawain lamang. Isang halimbawa nito, ang computer system sa eroplano na eksklusibong ginagamit para sa navigation at flight control. Ginagamit ang ganitong uri ng computer sa mga industrial machines upang kontrolin ang operasyon ng mga pabrika. Kumbaga, ang uri ng ganitong computer ay ginagamit para mag-focus sa isang gawain para ma-maximize ang data processing at efficiency. Matapos malaman kung para saan ginagamit ang mga computer, ngayon ay alamin naman natin kung paano nila pinoproseso ang mga datos. Ang analog computers ay nagpoproseso ng tuloy-tuloy o continuous na pisikal na datos. Isang halimbawa nito ay ang speedometer ng sasakyan na sumusukat sa bilis batay sa galaw ng karayon. Ang digital computers naman ay gumagamit ng discrete digits at binary logic o 0 or 1. Halimbawa nito ang smartphone o laptop na nagpoproseso ng impormasyon tulad ng text, images o videos. Ang hybrid computers naman ay ang kombinasyon ng analog at digital systems. Halimbawa nito ang medical monitoring machines sa ospital kung saan sinusukat ang analog signals ng katawan at kinokonvert ito sa digital data para sa analysis. Ginagamit din ng hybrid systems sa mga scientific at engineering simulations tulad ng pagdetect ng mga earthquakes or seismic activities. Ngayon na malinaw na ang pagkakaiba ng analog, digital at hybrid systems, dumako naman tayo sa klasifikasyon batay sa laki at kapasidad. Sa usapin naman ng laki, unahin natin ang mga computer na may pinakamataas na kakayahan at performance. Ang supercomputers, ang pinakamabilis at pinakapangyarihan sa lahat. Halimbawa nito, ang mga computer na ginagamit sa weather forecasting at nuclear research kung saan napakalaking datos ang kailangang iproseso sa maikling panahon. Ang mainframe computers naman ay kayang mag-handle ng libu-libong sabay-sabay na users. Isang halimbawa nito, ang mga banking systems kung saan maraming transaksyon ang pinaproseso ng sabay-sabay. Kung ang supercomputers ay mabilis sa ilang programa, ang mainframe naman ay eksperto sa malawakang data processing. Matapos ang high-capacity computers, pag-usapan naman natin ang mga mid at small size systems na mas karaniwang ginagamit. Ang mini computers ay mid-size systems na kayang mag-support ng daan-daang users. Halimbawa nito ang mga department servers sa malaking kumpanya. Ang microcomputers ay mga computer para sa personal na gamit. Kasama rito ang desktop computers na ginagamit sa bahay o opisina, laptops na komportable at magaan, at palm tops o handheld devices tulad ng tablets at smartphones para sa simpleng gawain. At panghuli, ang workstations naman ay high-performance computers na karaniwang ginagamit ng engineers, designers, at animators bilang clients sa loob ng network. Sa kabuuan, ang pag-unawa sa computer classifications ay mahalaga upang magamit natin ang tamang teknolohiya sa tamang sitwasyon. Yun lamang at maraming salamat sa panonood.